Discover the hidden power within, how 7 life-changing secrets make you emotionally unstoppable. Sam wiped the sweat from his brow, staring down at the engine of the vintage Chevy he was working on. The grease-stained fabric of his life sat heavy on his shoulders. Memories of his father, the proud veteran with calloused hands and a heart full of integrity, swirled around him like a cloud of motor oil. Hard work pays off, his father used to say, but as bills piled up and uncertainty loomed, Sam began to wonder if he would ever own his dream auto shop. Just a few steps away, financial strain whispered doubts into his ear, wrestling with his ambition, and leaving only the dream of independence shimmering just beyond reach. On slow days at work, his heart felt heavy with longing, tethered to Maplewood's quaint yet struggling existence. He often found solace at the local diner, the scent of coffee and warm pie wrapping around him like an embrace from a long-lost friend. Each seat was filled with familiar faces telling tales of resilience, weaving together the fabric of their community. It was here he learned that life's secrets of perseverance, trust, and community sparked bleary-eyed hope in the hearts of fellow townsfolk. Yet, an outsider threatened to shake that foundation, with plans to turn Maplewood into a corporate wasteland, where dreams would vanish into faceless conglomerates. One afternoon, with the air thick with determination, he gathered his neighbors in hushed tones, pitching the idea of a community event Reclaim Maplewood. Sam's heart raced at the spark of excitement in their faces, a flicker of hope igniting in the slow hum of their conversations. But just beneath the surface, turmoil brewed. His relationship with Jake, his estranged brother, felt like a wound that refused to heal. With the event looming, Sam grappled with feelings of inadequacy. How could he unite the town while wrestling with the burden of family expectations? As the day of the event dawned, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement, but doubt simmered in Sam's chest. He stood in front of the gathered crowd, words ready to leap from his lips. But just as he found his voice, the outsider appeared, accompanied by a taint of mystery revealing shocking ties to Sam's family, a past brimming with grief, resentment, and betrayal. The revelation hit like a sledgehammer to his heart, sending ripples of doubt and fear crashing through the crowd. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Sam struggled with his emotions, he remembered Dad's lessons echoing in his mind, urging him to find strength in vulnerability. The heartbeat of Maplewood pulsed in the silence, a collective hesitation wedged in the minds of his neighbors. Could he transform this moment of chaos into a call for unity? Just then, Jake stepped forward, his gaze piercing through the tension, revealing a vulnerability Sam hadn't seen before. Would they confront their shared past, or would their lineage of pain tear them apart for good? As whispers cut through the air, an impending sense of loss gathered around Sam. The crowd held its breath, waiting for him to make a choice. Would he honor his father's legacy and lead them toward hope, or let the shadows of doubt consume everything? The answer hung tantalizingly out of reach, like that dream shop just beyond a horizon of fear and uncertainty. Sam felt his heart quicken as he faced the crowd, each familiar face reflecting a desperate need for connection and courage. He fought the dizziness engulfing him, focused on Jake's unsure expression. The moment felt infinitesimal, yet the stakes were monumental. Jake, Sam's voice broke the air, raw and unsteady, we can't let the past define us. The words tumbled from his lips like the creaking gears of the Chevy he loved. For the first time, he saw a flicker of understanding in his brother's eyes. Had he finally reached him? I don't know how to fix this, Jake replied, his voice quiet yet resonating with a depth of emotion Sam hadn't anticipated. Do we even want to? Sam took a step forward, drawn into Jake's struggle like gravity. Memories of their childhood playing ball in the streets, long summer nights filled with laughter flooded over him. We've lost too much already. Maplewood is worth fighting for. Family is worth fighting for. Each word carried the weight of their fractured history, blending anger, hurt, and undeniable love. The crowd seemed to awaken from a slumber, leaning in closer as hope and desperation intertwined. Clara, a longtime resident with tired eyes yet a spirit as vibrant as the town's cherry blossoms, raised her hands. Yes, right. We have to stand united, or we lose everything we've fought for. Her voice broke through the web of silence, igniting murmurs of agreement. Sam felt a small but powerful surge within himself. The whispers of doubt began to dissolve amidst the unity appearing before him. Perhaps he could turn this moment around, not just for himself or Jake, but for the entire town. Feeling the swell of adrenaline, he took a deep breath. Let us not be the fear that binds us but the courage that frees us. Let us reclaim Maplewood. Together. In that moment, something shifted. The sadness that hung in the air morphed into something more hopeful. Neighbors exchanged glances, a subtle understanding passing among them. They were ready to fight, ready to find strength in each other. Jake watched as the energy of the crowd spiraled into a collective voice, and something inside him stirred. He stepped forward again, this time with more conviction. Sam's right. We can't keep living in the shadow of our past. Let them come. This is our home, and we're not going to back down. He echoed Sam's sentiments, and the crowd erupted in applause, their spirit rekindled like the flicker of a flame after a long darkness. But as the cheers of encouragement rang in their ears, Sam sensed a deeper storm rolling in, doubts yet to be settled, unresolved family tensions still lurking. Could they really heal as brothers while fighting the larger battle? As the rally continued, he stole a glance at Jake, his mind swirling with memories of the anger that had pulled them apart. Would this event truly begin to mend their fractured bond, or was it merely a distraction from the truths that lay ahead? The energy of togetherness hummed to life, but the echo of their painful history loomed ominously. Sam pushed back against the tide of fear, knowing the real fight was not just for Maplewood, but for their family, too. With resolve building in his chest, he turned to Jake, determined to bridge that gap. We need to talk after this. Jake nodded, the weight of their shared past etched in his features. Yeah, we do. But let us make sure Maplewood is safe first. As the crowd continued to rally, Sam felt the enormity of their journey ahead settle in. Could he navigate this new territory of hope and healing without losing sight of the pain that had kept them apart? With the sun setting behind them, casting a golden glow over Maplewood, Sam understood the path ahead wouldn't be easy. But hope shimmered just beyond, eager yet uncertain. What secrets still lingered in the shadows of their family? And as they suddenly erupted into plans for their comeback, would the past finally extinguish or ignite their future? The warmth of the evening sun cast a soft glow over Maplewood, the air thick with a palpable sense of determination. As the crowd began to disperse, still buoyed by the energy of the rally, Sam felt a mixture of hope and dread. He had ignited something powerful tonight, but he knew the real battle lay ahead, opening up to Jake and confronting the chaos of their shared past. Did you see their faces? Clara approached him, wiping away the sweat from her brow, her eyes bright. You really got through to them. This town needed that spark. Sam offered her a grateful smile. Thanks, Clara. But it wasn't just me. It was all of us. He meant it, yet a shadow of self-doubt clung to him like the evening mist. Hey, you should celebrate this. Clara encouraged, her excitement infectious. You brought them together, and for a moment, it felt like we could actually change things. A part of him wanted to revel in this small victory, but his gaze shifted to Jake, now standing at the edge of the gathering, deep in conversation with some of the old-timers. The indecision creeping into Sam's heart felt insurmountable. What if this moment was just a band-aid over the festering wound that was their relationship? He stepped toward Jake, who appeared both animated and hesitant. That duality mirrored Sam's own turmoil. As he approached, he caught snippets of their conversation, murmurs of fear and hope, nostalgia for days gone by. It hit him then. He wasn't just feeling fear for himself but for everything they all stood to lose if they didn't tackle their past. Jake caught his eye and offered him a weak smile. It was an acknowledgement, but it lacked the warmth of their shared childhood. They seem hopeful, Jake said as Sam reached him. Yeah, it's a start, Sam replied, the weight of what they needed to discuss heavy in the air between them. Let us grab a drink. We can talk more, Jake suggested, nodding toward the old diner down the street. Sam felt a rush of relief mixed with anxiety. They both needed this conversation, but what if it didn't turn out as he hoped? What if the past was too cumbersome to shake off? As they walked side by side, small talk filled the gaps, a fragile bridge being built amidst the lingering heaviness. Once inside the diner, the retro decor wrapped around them like a comforting quilt, though Sam couldn't shake the sense of impending confrontation. They took their seats at the booth, the familiar smell of burgers and fries only a soft balm for his nerves. Do you remember the time we got caught sneaking into the lake? Jake's voice brought back memories, but Sam could hear the underlying tension. It was their safety net, a way to avoid the urgent matter that loomed. Yeah, he said, forcing a chuckle, Dad grounded us for 2 weeks. Jake's smile faded slightly. Things were simpler back then. Before everything got complicated. There it was, the elephant in the room. Sam swallowed hard. That's exactly why we need to talk. We can't go back to pretending. We can't keep living like everything's fine. Jake's eyes darkened, the walls rising again, but Sam pressed on. We need to share what we've both been holding on to. It's eating us alive. I want us to have what we once did, before everything changed. Silence hovered like a heavy fog, each brother mulling over pain and unspoken words. Just then, the diner door swung open, and the familiar face of an old friend stepped in. Carol, her laughter ringing out like wind chimes, her aura radiating light in the room. Sam. Jake. You two are just the guys I wanted to see. Sam's heart sank. Carol's arrival felt like a distraction from the depth of their impending discussion. Hey, Carol, he said, forcing a smile, but a question loomed large in the forefront of his mind. Would this chance meeting stall the healing they so desperately needed? As Carol chatted about her plans for Maplewood, Sam couldn't help but steal glances at Jake, who had retreated into a facade of casualness. Would they ever get their moment to truly connect? And just like that, the path to understanding slipped a little further away. What if this surge of hope simply led them back into the darkness of uncertainty? The air felt charged, both exciting and terrifying. Sam could feel change on the horizon, but would they seize it before it faded away again? Inside, a storm brewed of unspoken truths waiting just beneath the surface, ready to either tear them apart or pull them closer than ever. Carol's laughter rang clear, slicing through the tension like a knife. She leaned against the booth, her enthusiasm infectious but disruptive. Sam managed a smile, yet his heart raced. He felt the weight of the moment slip away from him. Jake stared at the table, a tight-lipped smile plastered across his face. The cracks in their relationship felt like a chasm now. Are you guys still planning that cleanup for the park? Carol asked, her eyes darting between them, searching for the connection they used to share. Yeah, we're hoping to make a dent in all that overgrown stuff, Sam replied, deliberately keeping his tone light. He didn't want to ruin Carol's energy, but the contrast felt stark against the storm brewing inside of him. That's fantastic! She exclaimed, clapping her hands together. You both always brought the community together. It's about time we got some real change happening. Sam shifted in his seat, feeling a mixture of pride and sadness. Her words were true, but they exposed a raw nerve. He clutched the edge of the table, wrestling with his own hesitation. How could they open up about what was truly at stake with this familiar facade surrounding them? Speaking of change, Carol continued, her voice brightening as though unveiling a secret. I've got a proposal for a local festival. Something to celebrate this new energy in town. You guys should help with it. Jake's eyes flickered with interest, the spark pulling him from his shell, but Sam felt himself drifting further away. The situation was growing increasingly absurd. How could they talk about a festival when their brotherhood hung by a thread? But there was Jake, leaning in, suddenly animated. Sounds cool. But we definitely need some planning, Jake said, his voice lighter, erupting from what felt like deep waters. Sam watched in disbelief as the brother he longed to reach slipped away again, entangled in the fabric of their unwritten past. "Yeah. I can help with decorations." Carol chimed in, pulling out her phone. "How about we meet up to brainstorm?" Sam opened his mouth to speak, but the words tangled up in his throat. Yeah," he managed weakly, but the reply felt empty. Inside, his heart tightened. While he admired Carol's drive, each cheerful word knocked him further away from the crucial conversation he so desperately needed. What about the ideas that had plagued him for years? The hurt that had woven itself into the fabric of their family? Jake's gaze flicked toward him, a flicker of confusion passing between them. "You okay, Sam?" The genuine concern in Jake's voice struck a chord deep within him. Sam forced a nod, but the facade felt increasingly fragile. "Yeah, just feeling a bit overwhelmed," he confessed, hoping it was enough. "Take your time, bro. We'll figure this out together." Jake's words lingered, a tether he was willing to extend even amidst confusion. As the banter continued around him, Sam wrestled with his own uncertainty. Every joke, every grin from Carol felt like a distraction, a packing away of issues rather than facing them head-on. An opportunity for growth slipped out of reach, but did he even have the strength to pull Jake into that conversation again? The door to the diner swung wide once more as another familiar face walked in, this time, the local newspaper editor, Mr. Thompson, whose reputation for stirring the pot in Maplewood was well known. Sam felt a jolt of apprehension. Would this be yet another distraction or a catalyst for change? "Hey, boys. Got a minute? I'd like to chat about the rally and what's next." Sam's heart sank deeper. What if their moment slipped away for good? Would they ever truly confront what lay beneath? As voices began to rise and the diner filled with noise, the question hung heavy in the air: could they pause the chatter long enough to face the truths waiting in the shadows? With the stakes against them, would they embrace the struggle that had defined them for so long, or would old habits draw them back into silence? Mr. Thompson strode over, his presence commanding the booth's attention. He wore an easy smile, but Sam sensed the weight behind it, a sense of urgency that seemed to seep into the very air around them. It rattled against the light-hearted chatter Carol maintained with Jake. "Nice to see you, Sam, Jake. I've been hearing some great things about your cleanup project," Mr. Thompson said, pulling out a chair and sliding into it, uninvited. "And this festival? Seems like you're becoming the new faces of Maplewood. How about I feature you guys in the next edition?" Sure," Jake replied, enthusiasm pouring into his voice. Sam clenched his jaw, the thought of publicity twisting something deep inside him. Wasn't that what their community needed? But why did it feel like a distraction now, when everything else remained so unresolved? "This'll be great for the town. Everyone in Maplewood loves a good festival," Mr. Thompson continued, flipping through papers scattered in front of him. "But I want a story that truly resonates. What's your angle? What personal ties do you guys have to this?" At that moment, the weight on Sam's chest seemed to suffocate him. A personal angle? How could he explain the depth of their family's story, buried beneath layers of unspoken disappointment? Jake's brow furrowed as he spoke. "I guess we've always felt connected to this place. Growing up here, we spent a lot of time at the park." "Yes," Carol interjected, her excitement bright as she leaned closer. "Like when you guys," she hesitated, catching Sam's eye. There was history there, their laughter echoing over the summer days spent under the shade of the trees. Mr. Thompson's brow raised, sensing the tension. "Sounds like there's more. Come on, share it." "Really?" Sam said, the interruption surprising him, a sudden storm brewing in his mind. "There's not much to tell." "But why not?" Carol pressed, her voice filled with concern. "You always said it was where you both found your passion for community work." "Yeah," but Sam started, but the words stalled again, the familiar suffocation creeping back in. It wasn't just the cleanup or the festival, it was the bond he felt slipping away, the memories that paralyzed him. The diner continued buzzing with life around them, but Sam felt isolated. The laughter felt pointed now, too close to home. We all have things we deal with, don't we? It's just sometimes, it feels easier to ignore them. You mean it isn't worth talking about how we let our lives slip away from us? Jake's voice pierced through, the challenge resonating. Sam, this is about finding ourselves again. There was a crackle in the air, a moment of realization passing between the brothers. In a world filled with expectations, could they confront their pain instead of masking it? Mr. Thompson leaned forward, eyes focused on Sam. This is your chance, Sam. Your history can evoke change. Don't you see that? The light hung just right. Sam felt it, then a sliver of hope, a whisper nudging him closer to the edge. What if we shared everything that led us to this point? A silence hung over the table, almost reverent. The implications of his words felt monumental. Would speaking about their shared struggles bring them closer or further apart? Why not? Jake's voice broke through the tension, a tentative smile emerging. Let us make the truth our foundation. As Carol bit her lip, piercing the uncertainty, Sam's heart hammered. Holding back felt impossible now. Would putting their fears and stories on the table bridge the gap? With adrenaline thrumming through his veins, Sam took a breath. This was a chance, perhaps a fleeting moment where honesty could become a catalyst for something beautiful. But as he leaned in, ready to reveal the complexities buried within, another loud commotion erupted behind him. A familiar voice cut through the din, drawing his attention away from the horizon of healing that lay ahead. Is that really how you feel? What he heard made his stomach drop. With everything threatening to unravel, could they still find the strength to face their reality? Would Sam be ready to pull Jake back before the moment escaped him yet again? Sam turned slowly, a wave of dread washing over him at the sound of that voice. It was Claire, standing at the entrance of the diner with an expression that froze him in place. Her eyes searched the room before landing on him, and it felt like a shot to the gut. Claire, he managed, the name barely leaving his lips. It was like a ghost had appeared, one he wasn't fully prepared to face. She had been part of their lives a long time ago, and now here she was, threading through memories he had hoped to leave behind. Jake's gaze flicked from Sam to Claire, confusion flickering in his eyes. Carol looked back and forth, unsure how to react. Mr. Thompson, however, seemed almost delighted at the sudden turn of events, shifting in his chair as though ready to catch whatever drama unfolded. Is that really how you feel? Claire echoed, her tone laced with an incredulity that piqued interest. You've been pretending everything's fine for so long. How can you possibly ignore it? The question hung heavy in the air, all eyes now on Sam, as if he had been caught in a spotlight he never wanted. He could feel the warmth of embarrassment creeping up his neck. Ignoring it? It hadn't been that simple. Claire, this isn't the place Sam started but was cut off by the urgency in her voice. Isn't it? This is exactly where we should be. Claire stepped forward, her voice a mix of passion and frustration. You can't just gloss over what happened. We have to confront it, Sam. We all do. He felt a tightening in his chest, memories flooding in like unwelcome guests. The night that shattered their lives, the silence that followed. The weight of unspoken words felt like a mountain, pressing him down, so much that he could hardly breathe. Sam, Jake whispered, the soft plea cutting through the din surrounding them. Sam met his brother's gaze. There was understanding there, but also fear. Maybe she's right. A small spark flickered in Sam's heart. Could this be it? Could this be the moment when they stepped into the light? But Claire's presence felt like a storm, ready to unleash, and he was standing in the eye of it. Listen, I just want to take this festival and our project and show the town that we can move forward, Sam responded, struggling to keep his voice steady. Isn't that what everyone wants? But at what cost? Claire shot back, shaking her head. At the cost of truth? At the cost of pretending we didn't lose everything? The silence that followed was suffocating. Behind him, the diner buzzed with life, laughter, and joyful chatter, but here, in their little bubble, it felt like a reckoning. Sam glanced at Mr. Thompson, who appeared genuinely intrigued, leaning forward as if he were about to record the unfolding drama. Sam felt a surge of defiance building, but more than that, he felt the kick of vulnerability, his heart thumping in his chest, a noise that was deafening in his ears. "You think everyone just forgets?" "I buried it because I thought that was best." "But ignoring it isn't forgetting, Sam." Claire stepped closer, her voice softer yet firm. "It's there, lurking. You have to face it, or you'll always be trapped in the past." Suddenly, Jake leaned in again, urgency in his tone. "Sam, if it's going to heal us, we have to talk about it." "Yes, right. We're stuck because we're afraid." The clock on the diner wall ticked away the seconds as the three of them stood on the precipice of something unknown. Sam's heart raced as he felt the weight of his truth and Claire's pressing down upon him. Could they really go there? Could they lay bare their make-or-break realities? But as the tension swirled, a new voice broke through again, louder, more commanding, cutting through the air like a knife. "Enough. Why don't we all just tell the truth?" The proclamation rang clear, but who would take that leap? Could they embrace the power of vulnerability, or would fear hold them back once more? And as they all stood on that brink, the question lingered in the air, hanging like a promise unfulfilled. Would they finally summon the courage to unearth their hidden truths? "Enough. Why don't we all just tell the truth?" The voice belonged to Carol, a friend who had been quiet until now. Sam looked at her, surprised. She always had a way of knowing when the tension got too thick to cut. "Yes," Claire said, her eyes flashing with a mix of surprise and gratitude. "Exactly." Sam turned to Carol, pleading with his eyes. "This is complicated," he said. He could feel the weight of the moment pressing against him, the air thickening with emotion. "It doesn't have to be," Carol replied, her tone steady. "Sometimes the weight we carry is our own choice. You don't have to do this alone." "Then let us hear it," Claire urged, the spark of understanding lighting a fire in her eyes. "All of us. The past isn't going to let you move forward just because you pretend it doesn't exist." The diner buzzed around them, a stark contrast to the storm brewing in their circle. A waitress glided by, carrying a tray of burgers and fries, but she sensed the tension and hesitated, uncertain of what to do next. Sam's heart raced. Was he ready? Could he really speak the unspeakable? "What do you want me to say?" he asked softly, vulnerability slipping into his voice. "Start from the beginning," Claire urged, folding her arms, locking eyes with him as if she could will him to open up. "Tell us what you've been holding on to." "We're here, Sam." Jake shifted, his expression opening like a door for Sam. "We won't judge you," he whispered. "We just want to understand." Taking a deep breath, Sam felt as if he was inching toward the edge of a cliff. It was the night of the accident. He hesitated, the weight of the memory tree shaking. "I thought I could keep everyone safe. I thought I was protecting you. But I was wrong." Claire's expression softened. She took a step closer, her urgency morphing into compassion. "You don't have to carry that alone, Sam." The din of the diner faded, replaced by the rhythmic thump of Sam's heart against his chest. The words caught in his throat. "It was my fault. I didn't see the road. I didn't see the signs." And his voice broke, feeling like shattered glass beneath the weight of his confession. "I lost you all that night." "Sam," Jake interrupted, his tone calm but strong, "you can't keep holding yourself responsible for something that was an accident. We've all been through that night in our own ways. We're still here for each other. We just need to share it." Claire nodded, her own fears melting away. "Yes, we can bear this together. There's strength in sharing. Isn't that why we're all here today?" The thought tingled in the air, a fragile thread. Sam looked up, meeting their eyes one by one. In their gaze, he could see acceptance, reflection, and an unyielding bond. "Okay," he whispered, half to himself. "I want to let go. I want to heal." It felt like a release valve opening, letting out years of pent-up fear and doubt. Suddenly, a loud crash jolted them from their moment. A chair toppled over a few tables away in accident. It pulled the attention of several patrons in the diner, tension breaking for just a second. But it also reminded Sam of the fragility they were all living in. "Isn't it funny?" Claire said, ever perceptive. "Even as we're trying to confront the past, life keeps throwing us curveballs to deal with." The moment hanged in the air again, fragile yet exhilarating, as everyone weighed their next words carefully. "Let us take that as a sign that we're meant to do this," Jake ventured, a little more force in his voice. "We have to face it together now. No more hiding." As more eyes darted around the diner, gauging their emotions, Sam felt the tidal wave of inevitability roll through him. There was no turning back now. They were opening the floodgates to everything they had been suppressing. And as they stood on that brink again, renewed resolve ignited in Sam's heart. He nodded slowly, ready to finally embrace the truth. But what if the truth uncovered something deeper? Something that would change everything? Sam felt the fear pool in his stomach, churning just beneath the surface. The eyes staring back at him were filled with something he hadn't expected: concern, yes, but also a fierce loyalty that sparked hope. He exhaled slowly, digging deep to find the right words. "I know it was years ago, but it still haunts me. I wish I could rewrite that night. If only I had looked twice, if only I had listened to my gut." Claire stepped closer, her presence warm and steady. "Sam, what really matters is what you do now. You can't change the past, but you can change how you live in this moment." Her voice was soothing, like a balm on his racing thoughts. "I wish I could believe that," he said with a faint smile, uncertainty lacing his tone. "I built this wall, you know? A fortress against the guilt, the shame. But it's suffocating." Jake nodded, sharing a knowing look with Claire. "We can help you break it down. We all have our fortresses. Mine's just as tall." He paused, and Sam could see the memories swirling behind Jake's eyes. "Letting go starts with admitting our truth. Together." Sam swallowed hard, feeling the floodgate just starting to crack. "I still relive the moment, the sounds, the chaos, and then all that silence. I'd give anything." "Hey, we're not here to make you relive that trauma," Carol interjected gently. "We want you to feel free, Sam. We want to create something new, something healing." An overwhelming wave of emotion washed over him. In that simple statement, he felt a shift. He wasn't alone anymore. With a shaky resolve, Sam continued. "I never got to say goodbye. Never got to tell you all how much I loved you, how much I regret the choices I made." Claire's eyes glistened softly. "You can honor that feeling now. By sharing. By letting us into your heart." Sam felt a knot in his throat. Sharing felt terrifying, but also liberating. I think I've spent too much time hiding from my own feelings. From you all." As he spoke, memories flickered alongside the room's buzzing atmosphere, ghosts of laughter, moments that had slipped from the grip of time. "I don't know how to move on. If I even deserve to." Carol reached across the table, her hand gently grasping his. "You deserve joy, Sam. You deserve to live fully, not just to exist in the shadow of what happened. We won't let you carry this alone anymore." Sam's heart swelled, the grip of shame loosening just a fraction. The walls he'd built felt flimsy now, like a house of cards that could tumble down with the slightest breath. Then he looked around at his friends, beautifully flawed, each battling their own shadows. "What if we all did this together?" he suggested, his voice gaining strength. "What if we all shared?" A ripple of silence danced among them, and then Claire nodded. "Yes. Let us create a space where we can all be honest. A place to heal, to find strength in each other." It felt like a pact, powerful and anchored in the honesty that crackled between them. They were no longer just sitting at a diner table, they were on the brink of unraveling a tapestry of fears and truths that had coiled around them for far too long. Sam felt lighter, like the air was finally clearing, possibilities blossoming where burdens had once prevailed. But just as he was ready to dive deeper, a sense of unease settled, a whisper in his gut, warning him that unveiling such layers might reveal more than just healing. Suddenly, the chatter of the diner faded as a familiar face appeared at the entrance. It was someone from their past, a face Sam had dreadfully hoped never to see again. What would this unexpected arrival mean for their journey into disclosure? Could it threaten the fragile bond that was beginning to form? Sam's pulse quickened as he locked eyes with the unfamiliar figure standing by the door. The vibrant lights of the diner cast shadows on an expression he couldn't decipher. Was it remorse, anger, or something else entirely? "Is that?" Claire whispered, leaning closer to Sam, instinctively reaching for his hand. He nodded slowly, unable to tear his gaze away. Eric, the ghost of their collective past, stood there, larger than life, just as he had in their memories, but also somehow different. The years had carved lines into his face, but that familiar glint of bravado remained. "Not here," Sam breathed, a flood of panic rising inside him. This wasn't the conversation he wanted to have, not now, not ever. Just as the weight of the moment settled in, Eric stepped forward, his movements deliberate, as if testing the waters. The air stilled, hanging thick with unspoken tension, the clattering plates and murmured conversations fading into a distant hum. Carol, sensing the shift, shifted in her seat. "Maybe he came to apologize?" she suggested quietly, but her voice trembled. "Apologize?" Sam echoed, half skeptical. The bitterness from the past resurfaced, uninvited, leaving a sour taste in his mouth. What could he possibly say after everything? Claire squeezed his hand harder, trying to anchor him. "This is your moment, whatever you choose to do." But how could he choose? The shame bubbled up, mixing with anger. Eric had been part of that night, part of the decisions that had spiraled into chaos. Sam's heart ached as memories cascaded over him, the laughter, the camaraderie, and finally, the devastation. "Sam." Eric's voice broke through the fog of their history. It sounded raw, vulnerable. "Can we talk?" There was something in Eric's tone that Sam had never expected to hear. A sincerity that seemed genuine, yet still concealed a world of hurt. "Talk?" Sam asked, intensity sparking in his words. "You think you can just waltz back in and talk? After everything?" He felt Jake's reassuring presence next to him, a silent reminder that he was not alone. But maybe he needs to explain himself? Jake offered, an undercurrent of uncertainty in his words. As Eric came closer, desperation flickered in his eyes. "I messed up, Sam. I have to face it. I used to think I could run away, but coming back here? It's the only way I know how to make amends." Sam struggled with conflicting emotions. The warmth he'd found in the diner moments ago felt abruptly cold. "Amends?" he snapped, the word heavy on his tongue. "How do you make amends for wrecking lives?" Claire released Sam's hand, standing tall. "Maybe we don't need to resolve everything right this second, but we can listen. Give him a chance." Her voice was steady, unyielding even in the storm of feelings swirling around them. Sam inhaled sharply. Could he really do this? He had hoped never to face Eric again, to leave the past buried where it belonged. But that same part of him longed to reclaim control, to take this whirlwind of emotion and turn it into something more powerful. The room felt electric as Sam stood there, grappling with the weight of his decision. Would opening that door only invite more pain, or could it allow room for healing? "Fine," Sam spoke, barely above a whisper. "But I'm not promising anything." Just then, Eric nodded gratefully, shifting his stance. The others were silent, poised between wanting to know more and wishing they could retreat. That familiar feeling of their bonds being tested lingered heavily, and Sam felt the walls grow tighter again. As tension hung in the air, Sam couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper was stirring, a moment they were all approaching together. But facing Eric meant confronting not only the echoes of pain but also the slivers of hope tracing through the dark. What would emerge as they stepped into this tangled web of emotions? Could this reckoning turn into something transformative, or would it push them apart again, scattering the fragile pieces they had begun to assemble? The diner felt like a stage lit with both the promise of hope and the weight of unresolved conflict. Sam could hardly breathe, every heartbeat echoing the gravity of the moment. He fixed his gaze on Eric, whose expression flickered between regret and a tentative hope. "Sam, please," Eric urged again, his voice steadying despite the storm swirling in the room. "I know I can't erase what happened, but I need you to know I'm not running anymore. I want to be part of this part of making it right." The crowd around them shifted, awaiting Sam's response as though the air itself held its breath. Sam felt heat rise to his cheeks. "Part of making it right?" he snapped, the past flooding his memory like a tidal wave. "You left us when we needed you most. You can't just come back now and act like everything's fine." "Exactly," Claire interjected, her voice sharp yet understanding. "It's not just about your pain, Eric. You abandoned everyone, including yourself, and we all paid the price." Sam felt gratitude swell in his chest for Claire. It reminded him he wasn't alone in this fight. He could see in Jake's eyes a mirror of his doubts. Together, they had weathered storms and were now standing as a united front, showing the strength of their bond. "Listen," Eric began, swallowing hard as he dove deeper into vulnerability. "I was scared, just a kid caught up in my own mess. I didn't see how everything changed after that night, your family, everyone. I felt guilty beyond words, and instead of facing it, I ran." The weight of their shared history crashed over Sam once more. Memories flickered relentlessly, laughter turning to grief, friendships splintering into nothingness. But Claire stepped forward. "You're here now. That matters if you're truly willing to face what you did. It's not about absolution, it's about accountability, Eric." Eric's voice cracked, and for a moment, Sam thought he might break down. He looked at the faces surrounding him. "I don't want to make excuses. I want to own my part in this. I'm here to help however I can." There was a rawness in the air, a crack forming like the surface of ice in the first thaw of spring. It wasn't forgiveness being offered, but a potential for something new, a chance to redirect their paths. "I can't forget what happened, and I don't think I will. But I need to try," Sam finally said, his voice sharper than he intended. "Not just for me but for all of us. Inclusion means pulling everyone into this fight, even if it hurts." The words tumbled out with unexpected clarity, resonating in the silence that followed. It was a moment of acknowledgement, a dawning realization that healing wasn't linear and that it could and had to include those who had strayed. Claire stepped back, allowing the moment to breathe. The conversations around them muffled as they processed their feelings. In that vortex of honesty, vulnerability, and hope, it seemed a new path lay ahead. "What we need is to share this together," Jake said softly, his voice steady and firm. "We can choose to be honest. Maybe Eric can help us lead the charge for Maplewood. That's how we reclaim our home." As Sam caught Jake's eye, he felt a swell of gratitude and something else too, a simmering sense of possibility. Each person there, even Eric, had a story worth sharing, and somewhere buried beneath the pain lay resilience. "Working together doesn't mean forgetting, instead, it can be our greatest strength," Claire added, her conviction sparking renewed energy around the table. Sam turned back to Eric, the fire within him flickering but alive. "If you want to help, then show us. Help us plan the festival. Help the town find its spirit again. But if you bail again," he took a steadying breath, laying everything bare. "You won't have a shot at my trust again. I won't bail." "I promise," Eric said, his voice steadying as he met Sam's gaze. "This is as important to me as it is to you." The room pulsed with energy, the collective heartbeat of forgiveness mingling with caution. They were on the brink of something monumental, not just for themselves, but for all of Maplewood. As the diner resumed its life with soft laughter and junk food sizzling in the kitchen, the weight of the past felt increasingly lighter. They were still a family fractured but healing, trying to make sense of everything tangled in their lives. In the days to come, they would band together for their town and their shared story. Within that journey, they had learned the hidden power of vulnerability, the unyielding strength of community, and the indomitable spirit of family that could still illuminate even the darkest corners of their lives. As they forged ahead, Sam felt the sweet echo of hope swirling around him like a gentle breeze, reminding him that liberation lay in embracing their truths, together. And as fear gave way to triumph, the dawning realization shined brighter than ever before that every broken thing could be rebuilt with love, and every heart deserved the chance to heal. Now, dear viewers, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to our channel. Don't wait not even one more second to share this transformational story with at least 5 friends who need to see this. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. You have the power. Comment below and let us know your feelings about the ending. We want to hear from you. Your reactions matter. Together, we can create a community of hope and inspiration. Thank you for being a part of this journey.